So here we are, RS 800 Inlands, race 4, the first race of the second day. Wind was about 12 knots, so comfortably twin wiring up wind and starting to twin wire downwind, but it was picking up all day. Here we are in the pre-start, just doing a bit of reaching up and down the line, trying to work out the bias, which we reckon is probably the committee boat end. So tack in here, about 3 boat lengths down from the committee boat. So that's Tim and I think Grace behind us. They sail in pretty close to our leeward rack and tiller extension, which causes a little bit of panic because we can't really put the helm down to avoid them. So they sail in there just a metre away and just trying to keep the bow up, but then get stuck head to wind and just trying to scull out, but then get the tiller caught in the strop. We managed to just salvage the situation. Guy pulls on a bit of main, which stops us from bearing off. And we just get off from the line. We're a bit back from where we'd normally want to trigger, but there's 2 boats just ahead of us out of shot, which are absolutely covering us. So we're looking behind us, looking at the gap to the left-hand side, behind 1166 and ahead of 1198 if we get a tack in. Go for it, it's going to be a tight cross, but good tack and we'll see us out. Just trying to clear our lane so we cross 1190, 98 and going out towards the right hand side now. Looks like good pressure out this way. Boat speed's instantly up on what it was on starboard tack underneath those other boats. So course is 335, so it's not exceptionally lifted, but just good boat speed, edging up towards 9 knots. It looks like a dark patch on the water on this right hand side, so we're kind of happy to press into it. It's been well over 9 knots now, so we're really moving. So you can see the majority of the fleet out on the left hand side, still on starboard tack, but a few of them are starting to flip over and come back. So 326, so that's quite lifted, and that's bad because you can see a lot of the fleet outright are lifted inside us. But as we progress further out to the right hand side, that number starts to go back down again. You can see more of the fleet again on the right hand side of the picture. So 336, we just take the opportunity there to put a tack in, get back in contact with the fleet, see how we did. Didn't really want to risk going all the way out to the right hand side without seeing how we were doing. So we tap back, heading towards the middle of the course. See how we did compared to the boats who went out left on starboard. So you can see we're crossing a few boats already, but the real tell is when we get more towards the middle of the course. Course is 240, 245, which is okay, pretty lifted number, so that's a good angle to come back on. I mean, it was total luck being bounced out this side, so we're kind of fortunate, but yeah, crossing more boats as we come out. And there's Luke and Emma, who probably would have been one of the faster boats out left, so a real good sign that we've crossed ahead of them. So it means we've made a little gain really by being bounced out there. Bit accidental, but you take what you can get. So as the majority of the fleet has crossed behind us now, we decide to tack to keep in phase. We've got a bit of a lead, so we don't want to create too much leverage now, because that leverage can just turn into a loss. So tack back, go with the fleet. You can see there's a few boats still further out left, but the majority have crossed behind us, so we tap back to get in phase with them. So a bit of pack coming back across, who had crossed behind us and gone out right, so we still got a decent lead on them. There's Luke and Emma, they've made a little bit of a gain on us, but we still made the port cross. That's what matters. The thing here though is those other boats are below the ley lines, so they're going to have to do 2 more tacks, whereas we decide to carry on to this ley line and try and call it in one. So we call the ley line from quite a decent way out, which is always a bit of a risk, especially when it's so shifty. So we're just having a bit of discussion about whether we should straight set or jibe set. There is pressure on the right, so that's in favour of jibe set, but then maybe straight set's more conservative, especially when you've got a bit of a lead. And then we're just looking for an early jibe to get back over the left-hand side of the course as you look downwind where there's been more pressure up this beat. So there's Luke and Emma coming back. Similar sort of distance between us as the last cross. So that turned out to be a pretty good beat after getting bounced out at the start. Ease the control lines. Cunningham off first. You can see a decent lead behind now those other boats have tacked in on our transom. It's a very shifty up here. So bear away, straight set. Good hoist there. Kite pops. A little bit light. Not hitting the wire straight away. We're beneath the 400 fleet, we're ahead of us. Second boat round, Luke and Emma swing straight into a jibe set. We're kind of looking over our shoulder at that. We see James and Eddie, I think in third, go into a jibe set as well. So that's it, decision made. We jibe to follow them. Just to make sure we're playing the same side of the run as the rest of them. So decent jibe and speed up towards 15 knots. Quite nice pressure now, it's filling in, and you can see the course is down to 80 degrees and boat speed over 15 knots, so quite a nice little letdown towards the leeward marks. So Luke and Emma and James Eddie are just outshot to the right. There, that blue kite, that's James and Eddie behind. And Luke and Emma are a bit ahead of them. So we've got really good speed here, 17 knots, and course almost down to 90 degrees, so almost straight down the lake, so really good band of pressure we're in. Now we're a bit above the ley line for the left-hand mark as you look downwind, so we have to put a jibe in. So ideally we like to do a jibe drop, but we're a bit tight on that left-hand mark, which is favoured. So we have to sail past it and just do a straight drop. It's not the end of the world, you carry better speed, but the right-hand mark as you look downwind is definitely further away. Carries more speed that way, but the right-hand mark as you look downwind isn't the favoured mark, so we're kind of sailing past the left-hand one to go to the right-hand one, which isn't ideal, and then we get a knot in the sheet as well, so a bit of panic. We just head up and leave it, get going upwind, and we'll sort that later. So not too bad of a run, caught a good bit of pressure. Luke and Emma jibe drop there and go towards the favoured leeward mark, the left-hand one. So tacking in on the ley line there, that's Luke and Emma just below. They made a nice little gain up the right hand side of that beat, more pressure, better shift, went to the right hand gate, which was favoured. Plus we had to undo the knot in our spinnaker halyard, so yeah, this is a really close race up to the second mark. We're quite loose on the ley line, so we reach off over the top with good boat speed, grab the control lines, see a bit of pressure just over our right hand shoulder, so call the jibe set, crack the jib, bear away, straight into the jibe, see the pressure just behind at the mark, kite pops, pressure fills, 3, 2, 1, there you go, there the pressure hits, and straight away boat speed up. So speed up over 15 knots and course is good. So yeah, down over 80 degrees, that's a nice little letdown, nice little band of pressure to be on. Luke and Emma straight set in the background. Our trapeze lines are probably a bit short, we really want to be swinging it down now, it's got a bit windier, but yeah, guy just goes in there to duck below a boat, but Luke and Emma split out the other way, but we're pretty confident in this gust, it's quite nice, but just starts to go a little bit light there and we're heading up. You can see our track on the right hand side is lifting up, and think about a jibe back in, get across the front of that gust again. So yeah, put the jibe in, get back into that pressure, traversing it across the course. Come out the jibe, drop to the knot, back into the gust and boat speed over 15 knots, and the course is quite good as well, taking us nicely down the course. Really good downwind for us this. Dropped all the way to the knots, speed over 16 knots. See Luke and Emma with a black kite crossing behind. So possibly a little gain there on them. So now we're just thinking about the ley line into the leeward mark. We know the left-hand mark was favoured, so we're just looking to one jibe and into that. So there we go for the jibe, calling the ley line. Decent enough jibe, aiming for the left-hand can. That's definitely upwind of the two. So yeah, looking at a straight drop into this left-hand leeward mark. That should set us up to go up the right-hand side of the beat, where we think there's more pressure, better shift. So yeah, really good downwind leg, pretty much perfect. A big contrast to the next lap, that's for sure. So yeah, guy ties the sheets, grabs the jib sheet, round the mark nice and tight. Luke and Emma obviously overstood the ley line, had to drop early, and then reaching over to sail to the left-hand mark, which is less favoured. So yeah, really good downwind leg for us. So just put a tack in there as a loose cover on Luke and Emma. You can see them just off our transom. We want to stay in the middle of the course too, so we take the tack back towards the right hand side. So Luke and Emma tack off there, but that means we've got to do another two tacks, and we're only a minute from the ley line, so we decide just to hold on out this way. So there we go, call the ley line. Kick her off. So again, a bit of pressure coming down the right hand side, which we want to jibe for. Last windward mark, see Luke and Emma behind, decent lead. Go for the bearway, but just get a bit slow. Miss a hand on the sheet. Guy slipping. It's painful to watch. It's terrible. So yeah, we just gust hit us as we bore away, and we loaded up. I should have called the straight set, but I still went for it, and then missed a hand on the sheet. You see there, missed the boom, don't get it across, loads up. You don't want to be doing a jibe set when you're down speed like that. I could feel the boat really loading up, and I should have called it a straight set as soon as we got down speed, but that would have been fine. But we're pretty quick getting the boat back up. Tiller extension's caught in the trapeze elastic on the leeward side, but just get the boat bore away, get the boat going downwind again. Guy goes and sorts the tiller extension. You can see Luke and Emma in the background there, just popping the kite. So he's still got the lead, but Luke and Emma are accelerating over the top of us now. Heart rate up to over 200 BPM, so pop the kite, back in it. We're still in the race, we've still got the lead just, but it's neck and neck now. They're kind of right on a breeze, so we can't press too hard because we're just going to go up into their dirty air. So just kind of sticking with them out this to the right hand side as we go downwind. Just try and stay on the hip and control them a little bit. They can't really jibe across us, so they'd either have to slow and jibe behind or wait for us to jibe. So it's a bad situation that we've gone from a really decent lead, and now we're fighting for the bullet down this last run. So we've come out this right hand side a lot further than we had on any other leg, so at this point we're thinking, we must be past the ley line. So if we can hold them this way, out the two of us, if we jibe first, then we're the most likely to carry our kite into the leeward mark and the finish. So go for the jibe there. Decent jibe. At this point we're pretty convinced that either we're going to be both over the ley line, or if anyone makes the leeward mark, it's going to be us. So really pressed on the wires, full stretch, 17 knots, good boat speed. You see Luke and them with a black kite just to the left of the shot there. And we just think, oh, if anyone's going to carry it into this leeward mark, it's going to be us. But pressing hard, but 19 knots. Luke and them are already working the boat up for height, but we're still taking it down. But at this point, we just really seem to lose the speed as we go into that lull, but we don't get lifted up at all. And Luke and Emma are coming, as we lost that speed, just come up on our transom really quickly, but they're still carrying a load of height. And as soon as they get into this lull, they get higher and go. So they're really pressing up. And we're starting to hit the next gust now, and then get a big push down when this next bit of pressure hits us. And they just don't seem to get the header we get, so we have to call the drop, and we're going for the right hand gate, which I have been told since that we didn't have to go through, but yeah, we drop for this gate and go through the gate, but it's all over. Luke and Emma have just fly through to the finish, kite up the whole way. Yeah, they just absolutely scream over the top of us. So frustrating. Felt like we had good control of the race even after the capsize, but we were just slow to react that we weren't going to make the finish, and they were pressing up earlier, so hats off to them. Don't think you need a lip reader there to tell I was pretty annoyed with that. But yeah, top sailing from Luke and Emma. They just recognised the situation a lot earlier. But great race, you know, it was close racing throughout. Lead change right at the end, and you're never completely secure of your position, so that's what RS 800 sailing is all about. So if you enjoyed this, I've done another race video for the last race, which was really breezy, so check that out. And I'll also be doing plenty more videos this winter covering some stuff about basic techniques, so subscribe to the channel. Yeah, thanks for the watch.